That's what the fire of the flesh of the Spirit does, bro. Yeah. When the fire of the Spirit hit that bullshit, when the fire of the Spirit don't respect it. And I'm telling you, ain't no God in you, bro. So if me and you was to go to war, bro, my God would have overcome. I promise you. Consciously speaking,
Spreading the word in them streets for my people not hearing us. I pray that we make it through the fire. This word gon' take us higher, yes I know. I pray to y'all that one day my people see them chariots. Spreading the word in them streets for my people not hearing us. I pray that we make it through the fire.
I'm gonna say, listen, we come out here because we just come out here to do the work of the Father, which is come through the Scriptures. And I know you're not against that.
Not everywhere. Remember, listen, I done been a Christian for 7 days. I done went to that church a couple times. Bro, because I'm trying to find out, but you know what, it came to battle. You know what? None of this shit matters.
You're saying what we're about? You're saying whether we're for everyone and every inclusion?
If you ain't willing to say that I'm stepping out on God,
no. That's the entirely different. I'll say this. We were going here, and then I think we turned left. I'm going to tell you why I'm telling that. Because it's not my opinion, it's according to the Bible. Give me Daniel. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. The brother just pulled that out. I'm going to show you the superiority of the Israelites. Give me that.
I came in there.
Deuteronomy chapter 7.
Brother that was out here. I think it's like it's a race demographic, like whether nobody like any religion, like
you cannot tell
Protestant, Baptist, like all this shit. It's wrong, bro. There's only one God. Like it's only one way to God. Yo, whether you believe in Christ, Jesus, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, bro. I don't give a fuck whether you Catholic, whether you Muslim. If any of these brothers out here Muslim, and I say something right now, I don't give a fuck, bro. Like either way, at the end of the day, all this shit is religion. Like we need to cut out the fucking religion and put God first.
So no religion, right? No religion?
No.
Then you more so on our side than anything else.
Exactly.
Because, but wait, let me add on to that. You're more so on our side because the first thing I said when I stepped up here was we're not about Christianity. We're not about baptism. We're not about any of that.
Exactly.
Wait, let me finish what I'm saying. Let me finish my statement. I'm gonna get back to you. The first thing I said is that we're not Christians, we're not Catholics, we're not Jehovah's Witness, we're not none of that because it's not in the Bible. The first thing we said was that we're not for religion. For a long time we've been destroyed and we've just been living here in America. But guess what? It's about that time we came back to our heritage. So now a long time you so-called black and Hispanics, whenever you hear the Bible coming out, you think of Christianity. You think of Jehovah's Witness. You think of baptism. You think of all these crazy things that are not in the Bible. The Catholic Church is not in the Bible. The Christian Church is not in the Bible. Worshiping on Sunday is not the Bible. When we go into these scriptures, we see a holy people that the Most High called for Himself, a set-apart people. And that's not everybody in this earth. This Bible.
So can you agree with me? Can you find Hebrew Israelite in the Bible?
Can I find Hebrew?
You can find it.
Read that what I was saying about. He's going to find you what you asked for. There you go. Read Deuteronomy 7:6.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to find it.
Yeah. Read Deuteronomy 7:6.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people.
What do I say?
For thou art an holy people.
The Lord speaking to the children of Israel by the hand of Moses. He said what?
For thou art an holy people.
He said, thou art an holy people. Come on.
Unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto Himself.
Keep going.
Above all people.
What did He say?
Above all people.
One more time.
Above all people.
If the Lord puts me here and you're down here, and He wants to make sure that you stay down there, I'm staying up here, we're not equal.
Can I see that?
This is my style. I'm very personal on my style.
That's what I'm saying.
But go ahead.
So what you're saying right now is I'm not equal to you because of what? Tell me because of what?
Wait. Let's be honest. Wait, hold on, brother. Wait, brother. Let's be honest. Wait, hold on. Let's be honest, brother. Did I say you?
What other Pharisees?
I didn't say you, brother.
Let him talk.
I appreciate it, brother. I never said you. I said the so-called black Hispanics, the Native Americans, every so-called black Hispanic that's on this sun. The Lord said above. That's what I'm
Hispanic.
speaking about.
How do
brother.
I
I'm
not know
speaking
you
about
were black Hispanic?
I just
That's
said-
what I'm saying. I don't know where you from, brother. I can't call that. All I'm saying is you out here and you preaching this. How do I know you ain't that like? Come on, man. Like, ain't nobody dumb.
No problem, brother. Let me do what you just said. What's your ethnicity? Let's get to know you. What's your ethnicity? What's your ethnicity?
Tell me what you see in front of you, brother, and I'm gonna tell you my ethnicity.
I see a brother.
No, you don't. Tell me what you see in front of you.
I just
brother.
told you what I see.
Tell
I see
me
a
what
brother.
you see in front of me.
I can only tell you what I see.
You
I
see a brother, but where the fuck am I from? Do I got southern roots? Like, where's my roots
I'm
from?
only
Tell
asking
me
you.
where
Can
I'm
I ask
from.
you? Can you tell me? I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you where you from. Where you from? What's your ethnicity?
I'm black.
You're African American?
I'm from America.
Okay, there's no problem with that, brother. I don't know why we're warring. We're not warring each other because that's what we're coming for.
We're not.
But the thing is that boom. What I said is that the so-called African Americans, the so-called Haitian Jamaicans,
Brother,
Hispanics,
all that
and
shit
Native
is
Americans.
fine.
Hold
That's
on.
the same
Let me
thing
finish,
they
brother.
did
Come
there.
on, brother. Come on. We have to have some peace and order, man. That's what the Lord is about. He's about order. So I said these people on this. I said these people on this sign are the chosen people appointed of God. That means the so-called African American that's walking around here in America, they're the chosen people of God. And there's a reason why they went through slavery and went on slave ships and came here. And this is not where they're in America. This is the reason why we came out here to prepare the minds of our people that America's going to be destroyed and be paid back for the blood that they killed us with, man. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about vengeance upon those who killed us. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about equality, and we're not talking about no 40 acres and a donkey. That's not what we're talking about. Give me Galatians chapter 6, verse 7, brother. But I appreciate your patience. I appreciate that. Give me Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. You had a precept? Hebrew Israelites?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The book of Amos, chapter 3 and verse 1. Hear the word that the Most High saith unto you. So like it. Hear the word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family, which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only.
What is it?
You only. You only. You only.
Hebrew chapter and verse.
The book of Amos, chapter 3 and verse 1.
This is Amos chapter 3, verse 1. This is the lesser prophet. What did he say?
Hear the word that the Most High has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family, which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only.
One more time.
You only.
One more time.
You only.
You only, come on.
Have I known of all the families on the earth.
So he don't know anyone else on this earth. He's only dealing with the children of Israel. Brother, we just talked about order. Wait, hold on. No problem. But you have to know, brother. Hold on. You said all. Read it one more time.
You only.
What do you say?
You only.
One more time.
You only.
We're up here for everybody. We're up here for the children of Israel, man.
You only.
One more time.
You only.
You only, read on.
Have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you.
What did he say?
Therefore I will punish you.
The Most High God said he deals with us like children, man. If your children are inside your house and they break something and they bring their friend over, it don't matter who did it, you're going to punch your child and take that other friend, get the hell out of your house. That's what's going to happen. You know why? Because you don't hate your children, you want to instruct them. Because we broke the commandments of the Heavenly Father, he brought us here to America to be slaves, man. Because we broke his laws, guess what we got? We deserve to be in slavery, man. And that's what oppressed us. The so-called Caucasian white man. That's what the Bible speaks of, man. Read that.
God's love does not punish.
God's love does not punish.
Listen, God's love does not punish.
The book of Galatians chapter 6 and verse 7. Be not deceived. God is not mocked.
One more time.
Be not deceived. God is not mocked.
One more time.
Be not deceived. God is not mocked.
It says, don't be simple. Don't be foolish. God is not mocked. Read on.
For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
One more time.
For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
One more time.
For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
One more time.
For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
It says, whatsoever
For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
There you go. So wherever we sow, therefore we're gonna receive. We're gonna reap. So if we sow righteousness, if we sow righteousness, we're gonna reap righteousness. But if we sow wickedness, we're gonna receive wickedness, and that's what's gonna happen. Now, according to the Bible, do you keep the commandments? Because I see you pointing fingers at each brother. So do you keep the commandments?
No, I don't.
Okay, no, I don't. You pointing at brothers first. Give me the book of Romans.
Nobody out here keep them fucking
Give me
commandments.
Romans.
Bro, there's more than fucking 10 commandments. There are precepts and there are fucking laws. Follow them shits. All of y'all. Fuck that. I don't give a fuck.
There you go. Brother, why aren't you running away, man? Let's just deal with each other. Stay over here. You gotta do spirit, man.
I know y'all brothers ain't running away, and y'all gonna be out here every day.
That's
and
right.
I know that shit because I grew up doing it.
That's right.
I know how they do this.
This is it.
Guess what?
You gotta go over there, man.
When they say iron sharpens iron, y'all niggas better be sharp. Period. They say iron sharpen iron, y'all niggas better be sharp. Don't come out here with that bravado, because ain't nobody going for that shit out here. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Yo, I love y'all and I respect everybody that fucking love God. I don't give a fucking denomination. All that denomination shit, like Baptist, Protestant, Catholic, Muslim, Judaism, like all that shit, all of that shit is fucking bullshit, bro. Y'all know it and we all fucking know it. There is one fucking God. There is only one way to God. Acts 2:28. If y'all don't get that shit right, ain't nobody going nowhere.
And what are we gonna do to save black people?
Period.
What can we do to save black
It
people?
ain't about saving black people. Save your fucking self. Save yourself. Save your fucking self. Look, save yourself, brother. Save yourself.
I want to care about my people. That's what I care about.
What do you tell you when the camera at?
What
When
do
they
we
say
do for black people?
save yourself, no.
What do we do
Save
for black
yourself.
people?
Save your family. Fuck the black
You say
people.
unity?
Save your,
Unity,
like,
black
your
people,
lineage.
verse
Like, my
That's what we
lineage
been on,
ain't
man.
going nowhere.
That's
Know
what we
that.
out here.
We out here.
I said that's what we've been on. We've been on. That's why there's more than one person here. Read that. Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1, man.
Book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together.
What Lord say?
Gather yourselves together.
Lord said, gather yourselves together, man. That's the problem with this brother, because I know he was probably in Israel, he probably lived up there in New York, and probably kept the commandments, but the problem is he got tired, he got wasted, and he got weak, man. And then he fell back onto these streets, man. Give me that. Go back to your vine.
Talk about Haitians.
But you keep going. You got a mic. I'll give him a mic when he gets that scripture. Read that.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together.
What Lord say?
Gather yourselves together.
One more time.
Gather yourselves together.
Lord said, gather yourselves together. This is the key component to save us so-called black and Hispanic people, man. Because we've been destroyed and separated and divided by all those who hate us. So one of the simplistic ways for us to be built up back again as a nation is for us to gather together. Hallelujah. 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 All praise and power to the power of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, for sure his mercy endure forever. We're going to stand and face the east and begin this prayer. The blowing of the shofar. The blessing of Shabbat, repeat the Hebrew only. There you go. Blessed be Yahweh in the name of the anointed Yahweh Shai that gives us the shower in peace. Baruch the Yahweh, Bahashem Asak Yahweh Shai, Hawa al Nafar Nawa, Hashabaf, Bashalom. Blessed be Yahweh in the name of the anointed Yahweh Shai that gives us the law. Baruch the Yahweh, Bahashem Asak Yahweh Shai, Hawa al Nafar Nawa, HaTorah. Blessed be Yahweh in the name of the anointed Yahweh Shai that gives us the light to see. Baruch the Yahweh, Bahashem Asak Yahweh Shai, Hawa al Nafar Nawa, Ha'awar, Laka'ah. Blessed be Yahweh in the name of the anointed Yahweh Shai that gives us the ram's horn to call the people. Baruch the Yahweh, Bahashem Asak Yahweh Shai, Hawa al Nafar Nawa, Ha'awar, Ha'ayo, Koran, Lakra'ah, Ha'ayin. Blessed be Yahweh in the name of the anointed Yahweh Shai that gives us the olive oil to anoint Israel. Baruch the Yahweh, Bahashem Asak Yahweh Shai, Hawa al Nafar Nawa, Hashaman, Zayaf, Lamashak, Yashra'ala, Bahashem, Amasiak, Yahushai, Thawada, Famyan, Aman. Psalms 121 in English. The blessing of the Shabbat.
Psalm chapter 121. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going in, thy going out, and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Bahasham, Hamashek Yahushai, Tawada Tamyad. Amen.
Amen. Psalms 91 in the English, the blessing of Shabbat. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Who's the power? Who's the power? Bahashem. Bahashem. Read.
This is the book of Psalm chapter 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and thy buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid of terror by night, nor the arrow that flieth by day, nor the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold, and see the reward of the wicked, because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, my habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt not tread upon the lion and the adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample on the feet, because he had set his love upon me. Therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he had known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him. I will honor him. With long life will I satisfy him, and show him my salvation. Bahashem, Hamashek Yahushai, Thawalatam Yad, Aman.
Aman. The Aron Palau, Lashon Korash, the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew.
Abanawa,
Abanawa,
Shabbat Shemayim,
Shabbat Shemayim,
Kodash,
Kodash,
Haya,
Haya,
Shamka,
Shamka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Malafwabka,
Malachkovka,
Taba'a,
Taba'a,
Watazaika,
Atazaika,
Haya,
Haya,
Haisha,
Aisha,
Barataza,
Baratza,
Kawa,
Hawa,
Haya,
Haya,
Bashamayim,
Bashamayim,
Natananawa,
Fanawa,
Lakam,
Lacham,
Kaiwam,
Haiwam,
Wasalakanawa,
Wasalaknawa,
Kabawatanawa,
Wafinawa,
Kasalakanawa,
Wasalaknawa,
Kabawatanawa,
Wafinawa,
Wala'a,
Wala'a,
Tabadayanawa,
Kabiyanawa,
Bodasawan,
Masaiwan,
Abo,
Abo,
Hawashainawa,
Hawashainawa,
Mayan,
Ayan,
Rai,
Rai,
Kaya,
Haya,
Laka,
Lecha,
Hamalakwa,
Hamalakwa,
Walahala,
Wa'ala,
Wataiparat,
Wa'ala,
Laiwalumium,
Lawalanyam,
Bahasham,
Bahashem,
Hamashiach,
Mashiach,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
the water,
the water,
Tamyad,
Tamyad.
Aman.
The book of St. Matthew, chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you forgive men not their trespasses, neither will our Father forgive your trespasses. Abana Yahweh Bahashem Asak Yahushai, Thawara Thamyad. Amen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I want to say all praise and power go to Yahweh Bahashem Asak Yahushai, for surely his mercy endure forever. We pray unto you, O Yahweh, that you may send forth a righteous and returning spirit unto all the black, Hispanics, and Native Americans and the diaspora of Israelites across the four corners of this earth, O Yahweh, that you may bring them back to their heritage, bring them back to their culture, bring them back to thy commandments, O Yahweh, that we may be able to be well-pleasing in thy sight, that we may be able to return back to our place and our home, O Yahweh, Israel. I pray unto you how you may send forth a righteous spirit of cleansing and cleaning, that you may clean all of us, O Yahweh. For there's so much diseases and pestilence that is afflicting us, thy chosen people, the children of Israel, in these last days. For Satan knoweth he has but little time, therefore he afflicts us much. But, O Yahweh, I pray unto thee, as we put our faith in you, I pray unto you may strengthen us in last. O Yahweh, I pray unto you, and I thank you for all the brothers and souls that's in this room that gather together, that we may go into these scriptures, as Yahweh said, and seek eternal life. For they are in these words, O Yahweh. So I want to say all praise and power go to Yahweh by Shema Yahushai, for the water Thamyad Aman. You may be seated. All praise and power go to Yahweh B'Shem Asek Yahushai. Shalom. 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 All praises. So it's a great day to be alive for us as Black and Spanish and Native Americans, as the chosen people of the Most High, the children of Israel. Because surely we've been doing the right thing. Whatever we've been doing, we need to continue on that. We need to continue going forward on that path. Because right now, for whatever work we've been doing in Christ, guess what? Now Russia's finally invading Ukraine. And for right now, it may just be a civil war, but guess what? That civil war might be linked into a world war, the third world war that we've been waiting for so long. Right? Because this us as Israelites, us teaching this word, us coming back to our heritage, this is not a new thing. Us here at the Light of Zion, our elders come from 1 West, man. Powerful school in 125th Street in New York. Now, our elders came from that school. Their elders were Elder Masha, Elder Yaikwab, Arya, and so on and so forth. And out of them, their elder was a man named Abba Bibbins. Abba Bibbins been teaching that there was going to be a World War III since the 80s, since the 70s. Since the 60s, right? He been teaching that this was going to come. He was out there in the streets teaching this. So now we're so thankful, and all praise to the Most High. Let's give him the Most High a hand. That we're living in this time. It's a great time to be alive for us as Israelites. Because right now we can see our oppressor. He's sweating. Do you truly think Biden has any time to sleep right now? You think even though, he never get any time to sleep, because, him and his wife probably don't share no bedroom together. Separate beds, separate bedrooms. But right now, he's swarming his bed. He's wondering, what am I going to do? He did the stupidest move. He stopped all gas to come to America, coming from Russia, right? But guess what? Majority of their gas is coming from Russia. Go ahead. You got something to say on that?
No, I said it.
You gotta get closer to your mic. Yeah.
So now because all the gas prices are going up, now his people are turning against him now because he's making life hard for people that's here as well. So now the war is going on, and all people over there are suffering. Now the people over here are suffering also because now he's calling food shortages everywhere because all the sanctions he's doing. That's affecting everyone in the world, which is definitely going to lead to another war because whenever there's a food shortage, usually conflicts break out.
Right.
It's turning into bigger conflicts. So he's definitely going towards prophecy right now about what he's doing. He doesn't even know it.
No, of course. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful that this is happening because, that's what a lot of Black and Hispanics deserve because they decided they got scared when Biden said, you're not Black if you don't vote for me. They got scared for that. They didn't want to lose their Black card, so they chose Biden, Sleepy Joe Biden. But guess what? It's all through the purpose of the Most High. Right? Because I'm pretty sure if Donald J. was still in office, man, things would be a little different. Things would have been a lot different with Russia right now. But thank the Most High, we're on this path. Now Russia finally feeling a little, feel a little more tough, feel a little bad about himself. But it's not even his fault because guess what? It's been NATO. NATO has been forcing itself to try to get Ukraine into it. Why? Because it's trying to get closer to Russia. Because what NATO does is that when it has more countries come into its system, what it does is places its bombs and missiles. It's able to store its missiles on that land.
Yeah, so what they're doing now, so Ukraine was originally a part of Russia, as we all know.
Right, that's true.
And due to American influence...
I think you might.
Oh, yeah. And due to American influence, they forced the Ukraine to separate from Russia, so that they can have more American funding and so on and so forth. And now they're trying to pressure Ukraine to join in NATO. That's basically turning Russia's money, their backyard, into their enemy's land now. So, of course, he's not going to stand for it. So he put his foot down and said, listen, leave Ukraine alone, get out of my backyard. And America pushed and pushed, trying to get him to join NATO, and that's why he said, no, that's it. It's on now. Because you're trying to come in my backyard, take what's mine. And America's known for doing that, taking what's not theirs.
Mr. Johnny come lately. Mr. Johnny come lately creeped up in your backyard, man, with a ski mask. Oh, Officer Monica, you have something to say?
They have a
You have a mic for him? You can use.
It's not hooked up, so.
Test.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, Ukraine and Russia have a history. They're like brothers in a sense. So it's a more of a familiar thing. It's a family thing between them. So they really shouldn't, but they are because they're America. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, like I said, that they used to be part of the same country.
Yep.
And through American influence, they had them separate. Again, because they wanted to move in on Russia's money, because that's the breadbasket of Europe. Basically, it's Ukraine. Most of their wheat is in Ukraine. That's where it comes from. Most of the world get their wheat from Ukraine and other resources as well. And if America has control over that, they can have control over Russia as well. So.
that's where the actual materials are, and Luxembourg.
Yeah, so now you want to move in and take over their land where Russia's military base is at as well, and you're gonna put NATO there, so they're gonna have control over their weapons too. They're not gonna have that.
Wait, what's Russia's main assets? Is it natural gas?
They produce oil as well. They have oil that they have to produce over in the Middle East, but they also have a huge the military bases over in Ukraine, one of the biggest one. And if NATO has control over that country, that's going to mess with the defenses of Russia. And America usually has control over NATO, so you know what's going to happen then.
Of course, and he made it. The powerful officer just made a powerful point. America has control of NATO. That's the whole point. NATO was even established. The whole fact of NATO being established was to what? Support and defend America.
Not just America. I think it was due to the Monroe Doctrine. So
Of course,
allies,
but
yeah.
I mean mostly because really, what other country really get anything from being a part of NATO? What does Britain gain from it? They got this one thing where they say, okay, if any of our allies, and it's really a trap. That if any of our allies are being threatened by a country, boom, we'll step in. Mm-hmm. Quote unquote, we'll step in. Yes, right. But I don't even believe that's true too much because look at France. France been arguing with NATO because they look at all the other countries as insignificant. They hold America as a high standard, and that goes back to the biblical prophecy. That goes back to going back to Revelation chapter 17, where it talks about the whore that sits upon the beast. The beast is NATO. The beast is EU, right? And the heads that's a part of that beast, that's all the countries that are supporting NATO so it can defend America, which is the filthy whore, man. That's what it is. Go ahead. You got the precept? Go ahead and read it.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 17. So now we're seeing the curses being reversed. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. So to go with what the officer was mentioning, their basket was Ukraine. Now their basket being taken away from them. Things are it's kind of flopping.
It's flipping around. Here, let's go into a little bit, and then we're gonna go into the Book of Wars, man. And it's so spiritual that we're actually going to the Book of Wars as the world is plunging into war. Right? So it's spiritual. Look at that. Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. Let's get this.
This is the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God and the Father by him.
Read it one more time.
And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God and the Father by him.
So whatever we do, we have to do all praise to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and we have to do it by the name of Mashiach Yahushai. That's how we have to give honor. So now let's go Hosea chapter 6, verse 1. Hosea chapter 6, verse 1.
Hosea chapter 6 and verse 1.
Let's see why it's a great time to be alive as an Israelite, man. Read.
Come and let us return unto the Lord.
What did it say?
Come and let us return unto the Lord.
Come and let us return unto the Most High, which we've been doing. Because a lot of us sitting in this room, we can turn around, we can flip our hands over and look at our hands. Our hands are filthy, man. Our hands are filthy because we've been putting our hands to the ground. We've been putting our hands to the ground and plowing it. We've been plowing that ground for Christ. We've been doing this work, man. Getting our hands dirty. So this is the thing for you, a lot of our brothers and sisters, man. You have to look at your hands and see how dirty is it. Is it clean? Then you're doing something wrong. Right? Read it one more time.
Come and let us return unto the Lord.
What it say?
Come and let us return unto the Lord.
Keep going.
For he had torn.
What it say?
For he had torn.
For he has torn. Read on.
And he will heal us.
So now, when we look at what's going on with us as Israelites, we've been torn, we've been broken down, we've been destroyed, downtrodden, right? But now we're seeing what's going on with the rest of the world, what's going on with America, what's going on with NATO. Everything is turning around. As we've been the tail, they're going to become the tail. But first, this country and this world is going to fall. This false image of democracy, this white supremacy system that's been established, all of this is going to be torn down. Right? Read, what you got, a comment? Go ahead. Hold that. Keep going, though. I'm going to come back to that.
He had smitten, and he will bind us up.
What it say?
He had smitten, and he will bind us up.
And the whole purpose, and like I said, this is a righteous spirit that we're in, because we're about to go into the book of wars, right? What we as Israelites, we're going through a process called a revolution, man. Khan? We're going through a process called a revolution. Now, when you go into the etymology of revolution, it deals with what? The act or fact of moving in a circular course. Because when you do it a circular course, maybe you're at the top right now, but when that thing keeps moving, at some point, you're going to be at the bottom. So now our oppressors have been at the top for so long. But now what we see Russia's doing. Now we see what's going on with NATO. Now we see Biden. He can't get no sleep. When we see what's going on, we see that their power is falling. Right? Read.
Then shall we know, if we follow on to know the Lord, his going forth is prepared as the morning.
Read verse 2 again.
After 2 days.
What did it say?
After 2 days.
What did the prophet Hosea say?
After 2 days.
After 2 days, read on.
Will he revive us?
What's going to happen?
He will revive us.
He's going to revive us. Give me that in 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 8. A day unto the Lord is 1,000 years. But you stay where you are. Read that one more time.
After 2 days.
After 2 days, come on.
Will he revive us?
It says after 2 days will he revive us. So these literal days, let's see what it is. Go ahead. Where's your mic? Is it 2 Peter's? 2 Peter's 3 and 8? 2 Peter's 3 and 8. Need some help?
2 Peter chapter 3, verse 8.
All praises.
But, beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years.
One more time.
That one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years.
One day is as 1,000 years to the Lord. So now when we see the Lord giving us a prophecy, he's talking about what? That in 2 days. Read it one more time.
After 2 days.
After what?
After 2 days.
So what's the actual time span?
2 millennia.
Huh? One more time?
2 millennia.
One more time?
2 millennia.
Same voice, same mindset. One more time?
2,000 years.
There you go. It's 2,000 years. So that's what the Lord is speaking to. So you got 0 to 1,000, 1,000 to 2,000. Now, if we're at what? What's the year? What's the year? 2022. It's 2022. We're living in that third day. Let's keep going. It says during the second day, that's when he's going to revive us. Let's look at what happened during the second day. We had our powerful elders such as Abba Vivens. We have F.S. Cherry. We have William Crowley. We had all these powerful brothers that was standing up teaching our people back in the 80s and 70s and 90s, teaching our people that they're Israelites out on the streets, teaching black and Hispanics, man. So this was the revival, especially when Abba Bivens started his school in One West in 1969, man. That was the influx of Israelites coming to this truth, right? And it increased even more from speaking to the elders. It increased even more about 1980 85 to 1986. That's when the real influx came in. Right? Keep going.
After 2 days will he revive us.
What it say?
After 2 days will he revive us.
After 2 days shall he revive us. So after in 2,000 years, during those 2,000 years, he's going to revive us. But now we're living in that third day. Now it's for us to prepare ourselves as Israelites. Prepare ourselves for what? For when we're actually living in his sight, man. When we're actually in our land. Right? Keep going.
In the third day.
In the what?
In the third day.
In the one more time.
In the third day.
Which we're living in right now. Keep going.
He will rise us up.
What's going to happen?
He will rise us up.
He's going to rise us up. That's our deliverance. That's our redemption. That's our salvation out of the place of our captivity. Keep going.
And we shall live in his sight.
What's going to happen?
And we shall live in his sight.
And we have to congratulate ourselves and thank the Most High that this is a beautiful time as Israelites to be living. We're seeing America going crazy. Don't know what to do. Well, should they put their attention on Ukraine? Should they be putting their attention on NATO? Should they put their attention on Russia? Maybe France? We don't know what Britain might do. What should we do? Oh, wait, we can't forget about these millions upon millions of Negroes and Hispanics that we've killed and tortured and murdered and oppressed for so long that are living in our neighborhoods. Can't forget them. So now our oppressors are sweating. We're finally seeing them sweat. So this is a great and beautiful time to be alive. But we as Israelites, when we're seeing things are going about, when we're seeing wars are actually happening, people are actually dying, nuclear war arms are actually being used, then this is not the time for us to get scary and impatient. This is not the time for us to get scary, impatient, or fearful. This is the time for us to get ourselves in order. Because while the physical war begins, we've been in a spiritual war. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of us as Israelites, some of us are joking, man. We've been letting this spiritual war, we've been letting these spiritual demons whoop our behind, man, in small things. We got to get ourselves in order, man. Read 2 Ezra chapter 14, verse 13. 2 Ezra chapter 14, verse 13. What was that verse in Isaiah you was bringing out?
Isaiah 51 and 22.
What does it say? Well, give me a paraphrase. Paraphrase it. Huh? Get that. I like that. You get it. I want you to get it.
I got 2 Ezra chapter 5, verse 42. Judgment's like a rain.
That's two good verses. Give me the one in Isaiah first. I like that in Isaiah. Well, you read what I told you to get.
This is the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 14 and verse 13. Now therefore, set thine house in order.
What did the Lord say?
Set thine house in order.
One more time.
Set thine house in order.
Get yourself right. Get yourself right. All praise to the Most High. Put a pat on your back. You've been wearing your fringes. You've been keeping the commandments. You've been making it to the Shabbat. You don't got a school yet. 2937 West Bar Boulevard, V-Light Zion. Don't miss at the corner. You don't got a school here. You got a school here, man. You've been doing everything right to the best of your ability. All praise to the Most High. Give yourself a hand. But you need to step it forward. You need to step it even harder, man. The little small things you've been tripping over, the small things that we all trip over, we need to fight that thing. Right? Because this kingdom, this honor, this glory to see the destruction of the place of our captivity, you won't see it tripping over small things, man. You're not. Right? This is something that has to be earned. And I'm not even talking about you being delivered out of here. I'm talking about simply being able to live long enough to see this place actually sweat. See, America actually sweat. Gas is at $7, $8. Negroes don't even want to leave the house no more because they don't want to waste the gas. You know what I mean? You better be putting yourself in order. You better be checking yourself. Like you be checking that report card when you was in school. checking yourself to make sure you're not failing your classes. You better be checking yourself, man. Read.
Now therefore, set thine house in order.
What it say?
Set thine house in order.
Set your house in order. Read on.
And reprove thy people.
What it say?
Reprove thy people.
No, for yourself.
And reprove thy people.
Forget about the Jake sitting on the corner.
And reprove thy people.
And that's what it's about. It's not just about you. It's about your people outside of you. Right? Keep going.
Comfort such of them as be in trouble.
What it say?
Comfort such of them as be in trouble.
Keep going.
And now renounce corruption.
And this is the battle and war for all of us. We've been at this war, man. We've been at this war when we was in Israel. We've been at this war when the Most High put a foot behind our behind and kicked us out of the house, kicked us out of our land. We've been in this war since then. How much more for the 500 years we've been here in the Americas? So now, this is even at this point that we are right now. This is when we should get ourselves in order, man. Right? Keep going.
Let go from the mortal, from the mortal thoughts.
Read it one more time.
Let go from the mortal thoughts.
Hold that. Read what you got.
Isaiah 51, verse 21. Therefore hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. Thus saith thy Lord the Lord, and thy God that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling.
What it say?
I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again, but I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee.
One more time.
But I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee.
So now we're seeing him. He's drinking that cup of oppression. He's drinking that cup of affliction. Now he's choking it up. And we may be sitting there laughing as much as we want, maybe falling out the chair. Your stomach's hurting so much, you don't want to laugh no more. But guess what? You better check yourself. You better make sure you don't fall under his judgment also. Read.
Let go from thee mortal thoughts.
What it say?
Let go from thee mortal thoughts.
And we have to get ourselves together and let go of mortal thoughts. Read on.
Cast away thy burdens of men.
Mm-hmm.
Cast away the burdens of man.
Uh-huh.
Put off now the weak nature.
And that's a beautiful point. I think that's a good point. Now we can go into the Book of Wars. But hold on. But that's a beautiful point. Put off that weak nature, that delicate nature, that sweet nature, man. You got to get rid of that garbage. The reason why you have to get rid of it is because right now we're living in a rough time. As beautiful as it is, and I love it every day. I step out these doors, it's like a fresh air. You know why? Because I can smell America is slowly breaking down, piece by piece. It's tearing itself down. That's why the Lord said what? A house divided against itself cannot stand. So I can smell that. I can smell the houses tearing each other down. England and Britain doing that Brexit deal. France trying to run away from NATO.
They did.
Why is this, exactly? Why is France leaving NATO?
They want me to win inside.
Exactly.
Sovereignty.
You had something to finish up on that verse?
Done. Let me finish up and go to the second Ezra. Which have said to thy soul, bow down that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body as the ground and as a street to them that went over. Second Ezra chapter 5, verse 42. And he said unto me, I will liken my judgment unto a ring. Like as there is no slackness in the last, even so there is no swiftness in the first.
So he said that liken the judgment as a ring. So a ring does what? It goes around and around and around and around. But the beautiful thing about the time period that we're living in right now, we have us right here and he's right here, and that thing's going to tip over and there will be no more turning around after that. That's it. That's all she wrote. After we get on top and we get our kingdom and America's destroyed, there will be no more rebuilding. There will be no more make Edom great again. And again. And again. There will be no more. There won't be no, what's that thing called again? A sequel? There won't be no sequel for America. So let's go into Second Chronicles, not Second Chronicles, the Book of Judges. Let's get into these wars.
Judges?
Joshua chapter 1.
Okay, I was already here.
So in conclusion for us as Israelites, man, we got to get ourselves in order and check our spirit. We're in a spiritual war. We're in spiritual warfare. We're taking place in spiritual warfare right now. We got to get ourselves in order. We read that.
This is the book of Joshua, chapter 1. Now after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spake unto Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, and go over this Jordan, thou and all this people, unto the land which I give unto them, even to the children of Israel. Every place where the sole of your foot shall touch, shall tread upon, that I have given unto you, as I have said unto Moses.
What, read it one time?
Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that I have given unto you, as I said unto Moses.
As I what?
As I said unto Moses.
So as I said unto Moses. So now, if it's saying, as I said unto Moses, where can we find more information on this verse? Who got me? Who's following along? Read that verse again. Read verse 2.
Verse 2, Moses my servant is dead.
Uh-huh.
And now therefore arise and go over this Jordan, thou and all this people, unto the land which I do give to them, even to the children of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that I have given unto you, as I said unto Moses.
As I said unto Moses. So where can we go to know about this land? That's this magical land that's being given to us, as was told to Moses. Go ahead. Who got the mic?
Deuteronomy 11:24.
Go ahead and read it.
And it reads, Every place whereon the soles of your feet shall tread shall be yours, from the wilderness of Lebanon, from the river Euphrates, even unto the uttermost sea, shall your coast be.
So now, read verse 1 one more time. Read verse Joshua 1 and 3 one more time.
This is the book of Joshua, chapter 1 and verse 3. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I have said unto Moses.
Okay, so now, we have the sole of our foot. This can be taken this can be taken figurative, literal. Anybody can say whatever you want. You can say figurative, but I don't care, because this, you can literally see the parallel that's being taken here. You can see what's being really taken here when you go into the scriptures, that if you want to take it literal, it can be taken literal, right? Read Deuteronomy one more time. Deuteronomy 11:24. Let's see what I'm talking about. Make sure I'm not no crazy person. Let's read this.
Deuteronomy chapter 11 and verse 24.
Uh-huh.
Every place whereon the soles of your feet shall tread shall be yours, from the wilderness of Lebanon, from the river Euphrates, even unto the uttermost sea shall your coast be.
So, we're gonna find out where these coasts is. Where is this coast? This is Joshua This is Joshua prior to crossing the Jordan River to go into the rest of the Canaan to conquer it, right? So he's mentioning this promise because this was supposed to give us a glimpse or an idea of how large the portion of land that was promised us from Abraham by the Most High God. We're going to get a glimpse of how large the land of Israel is supposed to be, and not what it is that we see in the maps. What we see in the maps, we're going to get an explanation on why it is the way it is. Why our borders stopped where they are. We're going to learn from it in Joshua, the rest of Joshua, and it's going to go into, the explanation is going to go further into the book of Judges. But we're going to deal with everything prior to that. So now, read Genesis chapter 15, verse 18. Give me Genesis chapter 15, verse 18. Read Deuteronomy 11:24 one more time.
Deuteronomy chapter 11 and verse 24.
Uh-huh.
Every place.
One more time.
Every place.
Every place. So now let's deal with the children of Israel. Trooper Lashwan. Read one more time.
Every place.
Every place. Read on.
Whereon the soles of your feet shall tread shall be yours.
So now let's deal with a little bit of history. When it comes to the children of Israel, where has their sole of their foot has laid upon? Or where have they been? Let's just deal with that. Someone got a mic for him?
We've been in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
We've been, first we started at Jerusalem, and then Egypt.
You started where?
Jerusalem, Israel. You mean that slavery or what?
I'm talking about, read that verse one more time. Deuteronomy 11:24. Salakia.
Yeah, I got it. Just read it.
Deuteronomy 11:24.
Yeah, I'm on it. Just read it.
Go ahead. Whoever got it, let him read it.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 11, verse 24. For every place whereon the sole of your feet shall tread shall be yours.
Let Captain Uncle read it.
I got it right
When
here.
you read, you gotta slow very slow down. Remember, you gotta slow down when you read.
Deuteronomy chapter 11 and verse 24.
Uh-huh.
Every place whereon the soles of your feet shall tread shall be yours.
So now we're reading Deuteronomy. Where is the children of Israel right now in Deuteronomy? In Deuteronomy.
Oh, in Egypt?
And where?
Egypt.
Not in Deuteronomy. Who else got an answer? Where is the children of Israel during the time of Deuteronomy?
Outside of the cold.
The children of Israel are in the wilderness on the other side of Jordan. Because Deuteronomy is the last book of the law during the time of Moses. Right? It's the last book. It's the second law, basically. It's the second law reiteration of the law that's been mentioned in Leviticus and also in Numbers. So now Deuteronomy is taking place while Moses is at the foot of Mount Nebo. This is the other side of Jordan. So now they're over there in that wilderness. We have the children of Israel there. The sole of their foot have touched there. They came from Egypt. So there was in Egypt already. They went from Egypt. They crossed the Red Sea. Now they're on the other side of Jordan. Keep going. Read Deuteronomy 11:24.
Every place whereon the soles of your feet shall tread shall be yours.
So, Gershom, or wherever the place is called, Goshen, from Upper Egypt, all the way up to the wilderness on the other side of Jordan, until we cross into Jordan, all that portion of land, that belongs to the children of Israel. All of that belongs to us. Read on.
Contest. Whereon the soles of your feet shall tread shall be yours. From the wilderness of Lebanon, from the river Euphrates, even unto the uttermost sea shall your coast be.
So, the uttermost sea, that's dealing with the western part of Israel, which is dealing with the Mediterranean Sea. So now, when it comes to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they were nomadic prior to the Most High bringing them down to Egypt. They were nomadic, so they lived in different places in Canaan. So their soles of their foot, they were in different places in Canaan. All that territory is theirs. Then they went down to Egypt. They were living down in Egypt. That territory is theirs. Abraham came from where? He came from Ur of Chaldea. That's near the river of Euphrates. He came down from the river Euphrates, went down to Canaan. There was a time where even Abraham went to go stay and inhabit in Egypt. So now let's look at this whole span that's going on. Look at this picture. You're sharing the screen? Look at the footsteps of the children of Israel, right? All of that territory, by the covenant of Abraham that was given to us the Most High, all that territory was ours. All of that belongs to us. And as I said before, when we go further into Joshua, we're going to see why we failed to obtain all that territory. And I'm going to show you even more. I'm going to show you how much the actual territory was supposed to be. Read Genesis chapter 15, verse 8.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 15 and verse 8.
When you read Joshua chapter 1, the first time that verse is being mentioned, in Joshua chapter 1, verse 3, it's a reiteration of Deuteronomy 11:24. Deuteronomy 11:24 is a reiteration of Genesis 15:8. This is the original covenant that Abraham received from the Most High. So let's get an example of what these rivers are. Because it says the river Euphrates, even unto the river. It doesn't explain where this river is, right? Go ahead.
Genesis 15, verse 18.
I sent some images on the Gmail. Go ahead.
In the same day, the Lord made a covenant with Abram.
With who?
With Abram.
With Abram, come on.
Saying, unto thy seed have I given this land.
So we inherited it. Keep going.
From the river of Egypt.
What's the river in Egypt? Who got the answer? Read it one more time.
Unto thy seed have I given thee from the river of Egypt.
This is all being given to Abraham. He said, from the river of Egypt. What's the river in Egypt? Gotta be, yeah. I don't want to hear that now. Don't start mumbling. They're supposed to be Israelite historians sitting in this room, man. The whole point of doing the class, you're supposed to be Israelite historians. Let me see a little bit of the chat real quick. Let me chat a little bit. What's the river in Egypt, man? Brothers in the chat, tell me what's the river in Egypt? What's the name of the river in Egypt? Let's see if they got an answer. Let's see if they get a chance. Read that verse. Let's see if they'll put a name down.
Read again. It says, in the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt.
The river of what?
The river of Egypt.
And look at my powerful brother, man. Yeah. Gave me the answer. It's the Nile, man. Give the brother a hand, man. It's the Nile River. That's the largest river that's in that land. And because it yearly floods the area, it causes the land to be actually very fertile. No matter if all that sand you see, that land is actually very fertile because of that large river, right? But I want you to pull those pictures I pulled up, I sent you on the Gmail. Read Genesis 15.
Genesis 15, verse 18. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt.
From the what?
From the river of Egypt.
So, you're sharing the screen? Right now? Okay, all praise to the Most High. So from the river Egypt, so what you see from the top part right there, that's the river. That's where Goshen was. Goshen was right where in the area where the river Egypt, which is the river Nile, actually parted into two. So from here, this is where the center of Israel was, left from here, traveled on the other side, and then went into Israel from crossing the Jordan River. All this territory right here, according to the covenant that was given to us by Abraham, all that territory belonged to us. But not even just that. Right? Keep going in Genesis 15:18.
Unto the great river, the river Euphrates.
So that red point right there where it says Memphis, that river Nile spanning all the way to the river Euphrates, where Abraham is from, which is Ur of Chaldea. He came from there, traveled down to Canaan. From there, had Isaac, had Jacob. They traveled from there down to Egypt. all this territory from here to there, that would have been ours. This was the true promise that was given to Abraham. All that span of land was the true inheritance that was given to us by Abraham. But because of our failure, we're going to see why in Joshua, why we never obtained that full inhabitants. And it makes a lot more sense since the Most High also given us the covenant that we will be as the sands of the sea. How can we be the sands of the sea and inhabit a small land like that? But give me Sirach. You finish that verse and then give me Sirach 44 and 19. Or Bunnakud, since you have the mic.
Genesis 15 verse 18 again.
Hold on. Officer Bunnakud, give me Sirach chapter 44 verse 19. But go ahead. And what the historical name for that landmass would be called the Fertile Crescent. You could actually pull it back in the screen, because I want him to read it on the screen, what it says. But go ahead, read Genesis 15:18.
In the same day, the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, "Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates."
All that territory would have belonged to us. That's what you will call, the historical term for it is called the Fertile Crescent, right? Read that verse. Actually, before you read it, I want him to read some of this. Scroll down a little bit. There you go. Officer Bunnakud. Not Bunnakud, Officer Barzo. Go ahead.
The Fertile Crescent describes an area of land roughly occupied by modern Egypt, Israel, Lebanon.
Where?
Lebanon.
One more time.
Lebanon.
The river Egypt, read Deuteronomy 11:24, and in Joshua 1 and 3, it mentions Lebanon, right? This is all comprised under the Fertile Crescent. Read on.
The Fertile Crescent describes an area of land roughly occupied by modern Egypt, Israel, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq.
Okay, Syria, that's the Assyrians, right? The Assyrians lived alongside the Euphrates River. Now you got what? The Iraq. Iraq is what? That's where what? What ancient civilization lived in where we call Iraq today? Who got it? Huh? Nope. Huh? I'm not talking about the ethnic group. I'm talking about what ancient civilization or ancient empire was living on that landmass of Iraq.
I got that song right.
It's Babylon. No, you didn't sound sure, but it's all right. That's Babylon. So Babylon, Syria, it's all alongside the Euphrates River. This is all being comprised by what you call the river, the Fertile Crescent. Keep going.
North of the Arabian Desert.
Make sure you're next to the mic so they can hear you.
North of the Arabian Desert and west of the Zagros Mountains, this area is irrigated by several rivers, most notably the Tigris and Euphrates in Iraq and Syria, and the Nile in Egypt. Two major rivers basins are connected by the Levant.
By the what?
By the Levant.
Uh-huh. And Levant, that region is what you will call Israel. That area where we live in, that area that really isn't the real inheritance of all Israel, our territory, but it ended up being so later on when we find out in Joshua. But keep going.
A stretch of fertile land along the eastern coast of the Mediterranean Sea to form a green crescent-like shape. Once among the most fertile agricultural lands on Earth, the crescent remains visible from space today.
So this thing is so fertile they can see it from space. And it goes like a complete C, or like a crescent moon shape, right? You had something.
Sirach chapter 44 verse 19.
Go ahead. You can take it off the screen.
Abraham was a great father of many people. In glory was there none like unto him, who kept the law of the Most High, and was in covenant with him.
So this is a perfect way to understand the covenant that was given to Abraham. He was in covenant with the Lord. That covenant was the covenant of circumcision. Read on.
He established the covenant in his flesh.
Circumcision. Keep going.
And when he was proved, he was found faithful. Therefore, he assured him by an oath that he would bless the nations in his seed, and that he would multiply him as the
So if
dust
he's
of the
able
earth.
to bless the nations, if his seed is able to bless the nations, it gives his seed level of superiority over all the rest of the nations. Because if they bless them, they'll be blessed. If they curse them, they'll be cursed. Right? Keep going.
And exalt his seed as the stars.
There you go. Exalt his seed as the stars. That's dealing with numerically how many of his children there will be. Read on.
And cause them to inherit from sea to sea.
One more time.
And cause them to inherit from sea to sea.
So now we're hearing all the blessings that the Lord has given him comprised under this covenant that was tied in by the flesh, was his circumcision. And this part of it is what it said, by sea to sea. Read on.
And from the river unto the uttermost part of the land.
Uh-huh.
With Isaac did he establish likewise for Abraham.
So from the river to the uttermost part of the land, that's dealing with all this comprised land. Dealing from the river Nile all the way to the Euphrates. Keep going.
Abraham, his father's sake, the blessing of all men and the covenant, and made it rest upon the head of Jacob.
Unto who?
And made it rest upon the head of Jacob.
So this wasn't a covenant or a promise that stayed with Abraham. All this comprised land was promised to Abraham. It passed on to the shoulders of Isaac. Then it passed into the hands of Jacob, his son, his grandson. Keep going.
He acknowledged him in his blessing and gave him an heritage and divided his portions. Among the 12 tribes did he part them.
And that's how we know this true portion of land, all of this was meant to belong to us. This large land, so large to be like a country, a continent itself. This fertile crescent, the most fertile place in the world, all of this was going to belong to us. But as we go on further in Joshua, as I said, we're going to see our uttermost failure to obtain it. Right? The water, officer. You may be seated. Go ahead and go back to Joshua.
It's the book of Joshua, chapter 1 and verse 4. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even unto the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, unto the great sea toward the going down of the sun shall be your coast.
Okay, so it says what? And unto the great sea toward the going down of the sun shall be your coast. Right? That's what it said, right?
Con.
Okay. So now, the Mediterranean Sea, is it on our left side of our land or the right side?
Mediterranean?
Yes.
It's on our left side.
So if it's on the left side, that's east or west?
That's west.
That's west, right? Okay, read that verse one more time.
Verse 4 again. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even unto the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and unto the great sea toward the going down of the sun shall be your coast.
There you go. So the sun rises where? What direction?
East.
And it goes down where?
To the west.
So our territory is supposed to span from the river Euphrates, from the Nile, dealing with all the Levant area, which is what we'll see on these maps today. That area right there, that's what you would consider the starting point, right? Give me if you're able to find me, Officer Captain Nicole, if you're able to find me a standard map of Israel, what they'll call Israel, find me that. That's what you'll call something called the Levant. That was the starting point, right? But go ahead. Who was just reading? Was you?
Verse 5.
It was him, yeah.
There shall not any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life. As I was with Moses, as I was with Moses, so I will be with thee. I will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. Be strong and of a good courage, for unto this people shalt thou divide an inheritance of the land, which I swear unto their fathers to give to them. Verse 7. Only be thou strong and very.
Hold that for me. So now you see what the verse was talking about. The verse said that it will span all the way to the coast. So all this territory right here, this is still our part. This is still our land. It's just was supposed to be so much more. You understand? It was supposed to be so much more. But this right here is still our land. It just got restricted. It stayed in that area. Our borders never increased because of our failure of not conquering more of our land. You're gonna see. I'm gonna tell you. You know, all praise to the Most High. You'll see. Keep going.
Verse 7. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law, which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left hand, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then shalt thou make thy way prosperous, and then shalt thou have good courage, have good success. Verse 9. Have not I commanded thee, be strong and of a good courage? Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest. Then Joshua commanded the officers of the people, saying, Pass through the host, and command the people, saying, Prepare you victuals, for within 3 days ye shall pass over this Jordan. Go to and to possess the land which the Lord your God giveth you to possess it. Verse 12. And to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to the half tribe of Manasseh, spake Joshua, saying, Remember the word which Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, saying, The Lord shall had given you rest, and had given you this land. Your wives and your little ones and your cattle shall remain in the land which Moses gave you on this side Jordan.
So while we were on the other side of Jordan, we were still on the other side, that's when the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh saw that the land was far more pleasant. It was far more better for cattle and grazing and so on and so forth. And they hearkened unto Moses, hoping that Moses would give them that land. But Moses was disrespected. Moses felt disrespected because he said, if I give you this land, then how much more for the rest of your brethren? Will they want to go over Jordan to have to fight? If we all helped you fight to obtain this land that you liked and you want so much. So now if I just let you stay here, what do you think the other brother's going to do? The other tribe's going to want to do? They're going to want to stay on the other side of Jordan. You know how Negroes and Black and Hispanics go. You know, if one person gets to chill and everyone else have to work, guess what happens? Ain't nobody wants to work no more. I want to chill. I want to drink a Red Stripe with my brother. I don't want to work no more. So that's what's going to happen. So this is the reason why Moses entered into a covenant with them. He said, as long as you go over to the other side of the Jordan and you do fight with your brothers and help them get their land, get their situation settled, then go back. Go take it. That's yours. You can have it. No argument from me. Right? So Joshua is just reiterating it. So he's establishing with the Reubenites, the Manassites, and the Gadites that the covenant is still being kept up with him also. Because right now, Joshua has the highest level of power amongst the children of Israel. Right? Succeeding Moses. Go ahead.
Verse 14 again. Your wives, your little ones, and your cattle shall remain in the land which Moses gave you on this side Jordan. But you shall pass before your brethren armed, all the mighty men of valor, and help them, until the Lord have given your brethren rest, as he had given you, and they also have possessed the land which the Lord your God giveth them. Then ye shall return unto the land of your possession and enjoy it. which Moses, the Lord's servant, gave unto you on this side Jordan, toward the sun rising. Verse 16. And they answered Joshua, saying, all that thou commandest us, we will do, and whichsoever thou sendest us, we will go, according as we hearken unto Moses in all things, so will we hearken unto thee. Only the Lord thy God will be with thee, as he was with Moses. Whosoever he be that doeth rebel against thy commandment.
One more time.
Whosoever he be that doth rebel against thy commandment, and will not hearken unto thy words, in all that thou commandest him, he shall be put to death.
What's going to happen to him?
He shall be put to death.
So basically, if you go against the word of Joshua, your life is at risk now. You might not have your head on your shoulders anymore, right? And this is a very interesting perspective that you could touch on because, one, we don't really talk about too much about the government of Israel. And it's all right. Israel is like a mixing pot when it comes to the governments, right? Obviously, we had a king, right? Khan? We had a king, but we also had judges. We also had priests. Priests didn't just work in the temple. They had a level of power and influence in the land. Khan? Right? And then we also, not only that, but we had princes in the land that had authority and power in the land. Right? Khan? So this is actually a very large mixture of a government that we have in the land of Israel. Right? So first, we have what? In the wilderness, what was established was something called an autocracy. An autocracy is the same thing. Sometimes it falls into the same category of a monarchy or a dictatorship. But as in the sense of, in the wilderness, our autocracy ruler and our leader was Moses. He was above anyone else's voice. He was above Aaron's. Aaron was the high priest. He was above Aaron. He was above his sister. He was above everybody because he directly dealt with the Most High. And his word and his command, whoever he received from the Lord, was law. So to go against what Moses said, when he received his instruction from the Most High, meant death. So Moses was like our dictator. It was an autocracy type of government that we established for ourselves, that was established the minute we received our independence out of Egypt. But alongside of us receiving our independence, then we came into something called a mixture of something called an aristocracy. Arista basically means best, and akrasi or krati means power, or power goes to the best, or the most virtuous, or the most spiritual, the most faithful, right? And that's how we established the princes in the land. That's why the princes the Most High chose all the princes of each of the families of the tribes, and they became the royal family, or the head and chief fathers of those tribes. It was established. It was a mixture of an aristocracy. Then came about in the cultivation of our law, we had something called a kritarchy. A kritarchy is basically the government where the state is being ruled by judges. A kritarchy, actually, the example that it gives you, it actually tells you it got it from us as Israelites. Here, search up kritarchy for me. It's K-R-I-T-A-R-C-H-Y.
You want me to keep reading?
Not yet. K-R-I-T-A-R-C-H-Y. Let me know when you got it. There you go. Read that, Barzo.
Kritarchy, also called
Kritarchy,
also called kritarchy, was a system of rule by biblical judges, Hebrew, in ancient Israel, started by Moses according to the book of Exodus for the establishment of the united monarchy under
United.
Saul.
United.
Under the united monarchy under Saul.
Right. So that's how our governance took place. The hierarchy it basically diminished and it basically ended after our last judge, which was Samuel. When he died, there was no more judges. His sons were dethroned. His sons lost their position as judges, and then the era ended, and it entered into the era of a monarchy, which was still tied in with aristocracy, and also tied in with it was tied in with aristocracy. But the last thing before we move past this point, is that in the wilderness right now under Joshua, he is basically our dictator. He received his position from Moses, so everything that comes out of his mouth is absolute. Read that verse one more time in Joshua.
This book of Joshua, chapter 1,
Verse 18.
And verse 18. Whosoever he be that doeth rebel against thy commandments, and will not hearken unto thy words, in all that thou commandest him, he shall be put to death.
What's going to happen?
He shall be put to death.
A lot of people wouldn't want to live in a country like that. I said, if you disagree with Joshua, you die. I was going to say Nigga. You die, Negro. You lose your life, right? So that's what autocracy is. He was a single person who had basically all the power in the state, right? But alongside his autocracy, he had an aristocracy, which was the princes. Beside them, he had a hierarchy that he was raising up, so that when we came into the land after Joshua died, that's why we have the book of Judges. The judges took over the power and the control over different regions and jurisdictions in Israel, right? But alongside all of this, we have something else thrown into the mix. It was called a theocracy. A theocracy is a government that's ruled by priests, right? And this is the reason why in our government, priests carried a large level of political influence and power, right? So, last side point, the highest level of our government being controlled by a theocracy or by the priests is during the time of who? Who can guess it?
David?
Huh?
David?
David the Judite. David the Judite, who was king, monarch. The highest point when we was under a theocracy being ruled by priests was during the time of Maccabees. The Maccabees, the Hasmonean dynasty, that was a theocracy. Israel was being controlled by the priests, all the way leading up almost until the time of the New Testament, until Herod and his family took over and basically started pretending like they came from the Maccabean family or the Hasmonean dynasty. So, now let's continue. Salakia. Now chapter 2.
Verse 18. Only be strong and of a good courage. Chapter 2. And Joshua the son of Nun sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, Go view the land, even Jericho. And they went, and came into an harlot's house named Rahab, and lodged there. And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, Behold, there came men in hither tonight of the children of Israel to search out the country. And the king of Jericho sent unto Rahab, saying, Bring forth the men that came into thee, which are entered into thine house, for they will come to search out all the country.
So Joshua sent spies. That's what Israel had. We had spies too, man. I mean, we were we had all types of flavors in our government, right? So he sent 2 spies over to go spy out the land. Basically, check out its defenses, see how strong the wall is. Is the wall weak? Is it strong? When do they open the gate? When do they close the gate? He had to see how many soldiers they have on post. Where do they have their soldiers posted up? Right? Keep going.
And the woman took the 2 men and hid them, and said thus, There came men unto me, but I was not whence they were.
Yeah, she lying. That's what she's doing. Remember that. She's lying. Rahab is lying. But all praises. Keep going.
And it came to pass about the time of the shutting of the gate, when it was dark, that the men went out. Whether the men went, I would not. Pursue after them quickly, for ye shall overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof of the house, and hid them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the roof. And the men pursued after them the way to Jordan unto the fords. And as soon as they were pursued after them, were gone out, they shut the gate. And before they were laid down, she came up unto them upon the roof, and said unto the men, I know that the Lord had given you this land, and that your terror is fallen upon us.
What'd she say?
I know that the Lord had given you this land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you, when you came out of Egypt, and what you did unto the two kings of the Amorites that were on the other side Jordan, Shihon and Og.
So what is she really doing? She's afraid. She's afraid of their reputation. She's afraid of all the things she's been hearing. Man, this guy and his nation of people, they're going to come here. They're going to come here. They're going to kill everybody. Everybody's gone. They're going to disappear. They're going to kill everyone, and they're going to overthrow this city. That's what's going to happen, right? She understands that, and there's fear in her mouth when she's saying it. But keep going. That's why you have a lot of Christians that will come. Not a lot of Christians don't run here anymore. Maybe the low level. What's that word for it? What's a nice word for it? They're Christians. We're all of them stupid, low level, stupid Christians. They will come here, try to run away, try to say Rahab. You know, she believed in the God of Israel, and she saved the Israelites right there. And salvation will open. Salvation has now been opened up to her. You're out your mind, right? Go ahead.
Whom ye utterly destroyed. And as soon as we heard these things, our hearts did melt. Neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above and in earth beneath. Now therefore I pray you, swear unto me by the Lord, since I have showed you kindness, that you will also show kindness unto my father's house, and give me
unto her what?
Unto her father's house.
No, unto all her people?
Unto my father's house.
At least to her house and then the house next door to her house?
Unto my father's house.
So how noble can this woman really be? This woman is just looking after for her family. That's it. And the price of her being allowed to live in that area after we destroyed that city and kill these women and men and children, she's basically betraying her people, right? But Christians will go to her and try to make her, point out some righteous. God gave her salvation and saved her, but she's betraying her people. I mean, she's actually choosing the side of people who are going to exterminate her people, right? So keep going.
Verse 13. And that you will save alive my father and my mother and my brethren and my sisters and all that have and delivered our lives from death. And the men answered her, our life for yours, if you order not this our business. And it shall be, when the Lord had given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with thee. Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the town wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. And she said unto them, Get you to the mountain, lest the pursuers meet you, and hide yourselves there 3 days, until the pursuers be returned. Afterward may you go your way. And the men said unto her, We will be blameless of this thine oath, which thou hast made us swear.
So
Behold,
basically, saying there's stipulations according to all of this. She's not just receiving some type of free pass. You know, maybe she saved their lives. You know, she makes sure they didn't end up. She didn't surrender them to the people. But there's stipulations to all of this. The stipulations that if you or any of your family members get caught outside of your house, then they're dead. That's it. There's no returning them back to you, and that fault isn't on them, right? If that red thread is not around your window or around your house, then guess what? Your whole house is dead. You're dead, and we're broken from this covenant, right? Because all this thing has stipulations tied to it. Keep going.
okay, verse 18. Behold, when we come into the land, thou shalt bind this line of scarlet thread in the window which thou didst let us down by. And thou shalt bring thy father and thy mother and thy brethren and all thy father's household home unto thee. And it shall be that whosoever shall go out of the doors of thy house into the street, his blood shall be upon his head, and we will not be guiltless. And whosoever shall be with thee in the house, his blood shall be on our head, if any hand be upon him. Verse 20. And if thou utter this our business, then we will be quit of thine oath which thou hast made with us to swear. And she said, According unto your words, so be it. And she sent them away, and they departed. And she bound the scarlet line in the window. And they went and came unto the mountains, and abode there 3 days, until the pursuers were returned. And the pursuers sought them throughout all the way, but found them not. So the two men returned and descended from the mountain, and passed over, and came to Joshua the son of Nun, and told him all the things that befell them. And they said unto Joshua, Truly the Lord had delivered into our hands all the land, for even the inhabitants of the country do faint because of us.
So that's the most important part, that the fact that they heard from the mouth of somebody, the actual inhabitant of the land, that the land and the people themselves are terrified. They're terrified of the Israelites. They're terrified of what they heard about the Israelites. They're terrified when the Israelites even come there. So that's the best part of intel that they obtained during that time. Right? Keep going.
Chapter 3. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and they removed from the Shittim, and came to Jordan. And he and all the children of Israel, and lodged there before they passed over. And it came to pass after 3 days that the officers went through the host, and they commanded the people, saying, When you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, and the priests and the Levites bearing it, then ye shall remove from your place and go after it.
Mm-hmm.
Yet there shall be a space between you and it, about 2,000 cubits by measure.
So now you have to keep it in mind. This is like hundreds and thousands of Israelites as this is happening to. Thousands of Israelites that's about to walk this shore onto this thing, past this river Jordan. There's thousands of Israelites. So why is the Ark of the Covenant being kept away from the Israelites? Why do we have to walk it in this way? Officer Bunnacut, why do they have to walk like this? Read a verse again.
Chapter 3 and verse 3. And they commanded the people, saying, when you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, and the priests and the Levites bearing it, then ye shall remove from your place and go after it. Yet there shall be a space between you and it.
So instead of going after it, it just means
Follow
it's
it.
gonna. Yeah, exactly. You're just gonna follow it, right? So you're following the Ark of the Covenant. But keep going.
There shall be a space between you and it, about 2,000 cubits by measure.
So this is 2,000, let's say feet, for example. 2,000 feet away from you is the Ark of the Covenant. You and all the Israelites. Now, the question is why? Why does the Ark of the Covenant have to be away from us so far?
Because if we touch it, we die.
Exactly. If we touch the Ark of the Covenant, you're going to die. You're going to lose your life. You will be dead, and you will give up the spirit, right? So the reason why the Ark of the Covenant has to be so far away from us is that as all the Israelites are walking behind the Ark of the Covenant, you can't have any of these guys. One of them evil spirit might jump in one of them and say, "Dang, that's the Ark of the Covenant."
I'm so curious.
And this is my opportunity, right? And might try to touch it. You know, Israel, a peculiar people.
Or it might be an issue where people try to jump over and see it, push someone by accident, they touch it, they die.
And then now we got all this death going on, and we were supposed to be walking into the land, right? No, but go ahead, continue.
Yet there shall be a space between you and it, about 2,000 cubits by measure. Come not near unto it, that you may know the way by which ye must go, for ye have not passed this way heretofore. And Joshua said unto the people, sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. Verse 6. And Joshua spake, And Joshua spake unto the priest, saying, take up the ark of the covenant, and pass over before the people. And they took up the ark of the covenant, and went before the people. And the Lord said unto Joshua, this day will I begin to magnify thee in the sight of all Israel, that they may know that as I was with Moses, so will I be with thee. And thou shalt command the priest that bear the ark of the covenant, saying, when ye come to the brink of the water of Jordan, ye shall stand still in the Jordan. And Joshua said unto the children of Israel, come hither, and hear the words of the Lord your God. Mm-hmm. And Joshua said, hereby ye shall know that the living God is among you, and that he will without fail drive out from before you the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Hivites, and the Perizzites, and the Gergesites, and the Amorites, and the Jebusites. Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth passeth over before you unto Jordan. Now therefore take you 12 men out of the tribe of Israel, out of every tribe a man, and it shall come to pass, as soon as the soles of the feet of the priest that bear the ark of the Lord of all earth, shall rest in the waters of Jordan. That when the waters of Jordan shall be cut from the waters that come down from above, and they shall stand upon the heap. Verse 14. And it came to pass when the people were moved from their tents to pass over Jordan, and the priests bearing the ark of the covenant before the people, and as they bare the ark were come unto Jordan, and the feet of the priests that bare the ark were dipped in the brim of the water.
The brick of the water.
The brim of the water.
Break of the water.
What you said?
It says the break.
Mine
Ye are come to the brick of the water of Jordan.
Mine says brim.
All right, go ahead. What verse you at?
15.
Okay. Go ahead.
The water For the Jordan overflowed with his banks all the time of the harvest. Verse 16. But the waters came down from above, stood and rose up, and heaped very far from the city Adam, that is beside Zartan, and those that came down toward the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, failed, and were cut off, and the people passed over right against Jericho. And the priests that bare the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry ground in the midst of Jordan, and all the Israelites passed over on dry ground until the people were passed clean over Jordan.
Right. So now before we go to chapter 14, not chapter 14, verse 4, chapter 4, let's go back to verse 13. Let's deal with that. Then we'll go to chapter 4.
Verse 13?
Yeah, verse 13.
This is the book of Joshua, chapter 3, and verse 13.
Okay.
And it shall come to pass, as soon as the soles of the feet of the priests that bear the ark of the Lord, for the Lord of the earth shall rest in the waters of Jordan. That the waters of Jordan shall be cut off from the waters that come down from above, and that they shall stand upon an heap.
So this is so special what's going on at this point. The reason why is because, one, these people who are experiencing this, them walking across Jordan, they're seeing the Most High give them such a wonderful sign. The water is splitting apart. These people never saw it happen before. They were not a part of the generation of them who saw the Red Sea split when it was leaving a part of Egypt. Who gave me that precept? Who got me that verse? These guys right here that's walking with Joshua, they were never a part of that generation that saw the Red Sea split. They were not. These children were the product of those who did, but they came about during the 40 years of us walking in the wilderness, right? So this is the first time they're even experiencing something like this. So no problem. What verse?
Numbers, right?
Exodus. If you got the verse, pull it, and I want you to read it. Bars out, I want you to read 1 and 35.
Exodus 1:35? What is it?
Deuteronomy 1 and 35. Deuteronomy 1 and 35.
This the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1, and verse 35. Surely there shall not one of these men of this evil generation see.
What it say?
Surely there shall not one of these men of this evil generation.
What kind of generation?
Evil generation.
Evil generation. Every one of them that came out of Egypt, the only except for Caleb and Joshua, almost everyone of that generation, after all the plagues that they saw came upon Egypt, even after them becoming wealthy and them borrowing from the Egyptians, even after all the blessings and miracles the Most High showed us while we was in the wilderness, the brazen serpent, everything he did, them Negroes said, I don't care. Them Negroes said, I'm going to serve Baal and Ashereth, and I don't give a damn. That's what they said. And they decided that they were going to turn their back on the Most High. That's why the Most High threw them into the wilderness to be there for 40 years. We wandered the wilderness for 40 years. Now we have, us as Israelites today, we have to learn from a lesson. Because we can't go back in time. Con? We can't. All we can do is learn from it. But as us, as we were just saying earlier, it's a great time to be alive as an Israelite. Tomorrow, we never know. Tomorrow may be our chance and our opportunity to be in the wilderness. Tomorrow may be our opportunity and our chance to do better than our forefathers did. Let's not be wicked Negroes. And our forefathers did 40 years in the wilderness. Now we're going to go ahead and do 80. Please, I can't. I can't. I can't.
Stone him yourself.
You already know Israel, man. Israel, we're gonna be in the wilderness. Israel gonna be like, damn, our fathers did 40 years. We're gonna do 100. We're gonna do 100 years in this wilderness. Go ahead, Officer Bunnicott. You had a comment?
I was going through a Jason script. It's basically the same thing. Numbers chapter 14, verse 22. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt,
that's a good verse.
and which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, have tempted me now these 10 times that have not hearkened unto my voice. Surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers. Neither shall any of them that provoke me see it, but my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and hath followed me fully. Him I will bring into the land whereunto he went.
That's what I had before. I got one too.
You got one also?
Yeah.
Numbers chapter 14,
All right,
verse
go ahead and
22.
read your verse. That was a powerful verse. That was actually the one I was thinking. Selecting my
Yeah,
bad.
that's what I'm looking too.
I know you want the verse, right? Okay, but that was actually the one that was in the forefront of my mind. I just kept slipping in, but that was a powerful verse. You got the verse, right, Captain? You got the verse? Okay, go ahead. You got some.
Here's the book of Judges, chapter 2 and verse 10. Also, all that generation were gathered unto their fathers, and there rose another generation after them, which knew not the Lord, nor the works which he had done for Israel.
Read one more time.
This is the book of Judges, chapter 2 and verse 10. And also all that generation were gathered unto their fathers, and there rose another generation after them, which knew not the Lord, nor yet the works which he had done for Israel.
Right, and that's that generation. But that's a little further into the future. That's good. That's along the lines, but that's further in the future, right? Give me the book of Deuteronomy 1 and 36. Read all the way down to 39.
This book of Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 36.
Uh-huh.
Save Caleb, the son of Jephunneh.
Uh-huh.
He shall see it, and to him will I give the land that he had trodden upon, and unto his children, because he had wholly followed the Lord.
Right.
Also the Lord was and that's it.
Keep going.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Verse 37. Also the Lord was angry with me for your sake, saying,
So this is Moses speaking that perspective, but keep going.
Thou also shalt not go in thither, because Joshua the son of Nun was standing before thee. He shall go in thither. Encourage him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit it.
Right.
Moreover, your little ones, which he said should be a prey, and your children, which in that day had no knowledge between good and evil, they shall go in thither, and unto them will I give it, and they shall possess it.
Right, so that's the whole purpose. So this whole thing, the fact that the Most High had is showing them this miracle, because they never seen it before. The only thing they probably heard was the stories about it from their fathers. But now they are the generation entering into the land. The Most High is giving them this wonder and this great thing, that they'll be able to experience something that their fathers did. Right? So now let's go back.
This is the book of Joshua,
Oh, yeah, chapter 4.
chapter 4. And it came to pass, when all the people were clean passed over Jordan, that the Lord spake unto Joshua, saying, Take you 12 men out of the people, out of every tribe a man, and command ye them, saying, Take you hence out of the midst of Jordan, out of the place where the priest feet stood firm, 12 stones, and ye shall carry them over with you, and leave them in the lodging place, where ye shall lodge this night. Then Joshua called the 12 men, whom he had prepared out of the children of Israel, out of every tribe a man. And Joshua said unto them, Pass over before the ark of the Lord.
What verse we at?
Verse 5. Chapter 4, verse 5.
Okay.
Verse 5 again. And Joshua said unto them, Pass over the ark of the Lord your God into the midst of Jordan, and take you up every man you a stone upon his shoulder, according unto the number of the tribes of the children of Israel. That this may be a sign among you, that when the children ask their fathers in time to come, saying, What mean ye by these stones? Then ye shall answer them, that the waters of Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, when it passed over Jordan, and the waters of Jordan were cut off. And these stones shall be for a memorial upon the children of Israel forever. And the children of Israel did as Joshua commanded, and took up 12 stones out of the midst of Jordan, as the Lord spake unto Joshua, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, and carried them over with them unto the place where they lodged, and laid them down there. Verse 9.
Right. So the whole purpose of them even bringing the stones, someone get me Psalm chapter 78, verse 6. Whoever gets it down there. Actually, let Lashwan get it. Trooper Lashwan, give me Psalm chapter 78, verse 6. Psalm 78, verse 6.
This is the book of Psalm, chapter 78, verse 6.
Uh-huh.
That the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, whom shall arise and declare them to thy generation, to their children, Salaki.
Okay. Let Officer Monica read the next verse. So the whole purpose of us getting these stones is so that we will remember the great works that the Most High did. Remember, we can't always experience going across the River Jordan. Nobody can say that the Most High allowed the River Jordan to stay still while we crossed it on dry land. Everybody can't say that. But these unnatural, these uncommon stones that people do not see every day, that are on the bottom of the river, we're taking them and bringing them on dry land, so that all our children, all our generations that come after us can see these stones, these uncommon stones, and see them and say, yes, the Most High did this.
So these stones were basically a memento of the occasion. So every time the Most High did something for us, there's always something to remember that occasion by. So like I said, when people one day can experience it, what are these stones? Oh, this is from when the Most High did this. It's a memento, a family heirloom now. So it's passed down from generation to generation, along with the story, so they always knew what was going on. Even when they weren't there, they could still experience it by having a story and something to look upon and remember what happened.
And that's why we have feast days.
Exactly. You had Psalm 78:6?
Go on.
Okay.
And that's why we have feast days. Psalm 78, verse 7. That they might set their hope in Yahweh, and not forget the works of Yahweh, but keep his commandments, and might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation.
So what's the purpose of taking those stones out? So that we don't be like our fathers. We don't take the negativity that our fathers carried, which was being rebellious and stubborn Negroes, man. Right? Keep going.
A generation that set not their heart aright, and whose spirit was not steadfast with Yahweh.
That's it. That's it on it. But we can go back to Joshua.
Here's the book of Joshua, chapter 4 and verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
And the children of Israel did as Joshua commanded, and took up 12 stones out
No,
of
you read that already. Because you got to the point where it said lodged and laid them down there.
So 9.
Read verse 8. Verse 9. Salakia. Yep.
And Joshua set up 12 stones in the midst of Jordan, in the place where the feet of the priests which bear the ark of the covenant stood, and they are there unto this day. For the priests which bear the ark stood in the midst of Jordan until everything was finished. And the Lord commanded Joshua to speak unto the people according to all that Moses commanded Joshua. And the people hasted and passed over. And it came to pass, when all the people were clean passed over, that the ark of the covenant, the ark of the Lord, passed over and preached in the presence of the people.
So I want to say, all praises and power go to Yahweh by Shema Sekawashai. I want you to throw out from Yad Aman. Let's give a hand to the Most High for a powerful, powerful portion that we just had. About now, we just began our invasion of the land of Canaan. We attacked some other places that was on the other side of Jordan, but now we're going to the heart of Canaan. Or now we're going to be showing you how did Joshua exactly strategically defeat these barbaric people called the Canaanites. All right? So, I want to leave an announcement. April 14th, once again, April 14th is not just a Passover with Eli Zion. It is our day of independence. Khan. It is our day of independence. It's a day that the Most High delivered us out of Egypt. It's a day the Most High provided us salvation in the face of our filthy oppressors in their land that was being tormented by plagues. Lawya for that. Right? Go ahead and play that commercial.
Welcome to the Passover. Welcome to the Passover. We praise Yahweh when them death angels.
Hallelujah. All praise be to the Father, Isaac, and Jacob, for his mercy truly endured forever. Welcome to the Lord's Passover. We welcome in all Israelite born. Those of us from all over the U.S., all over the diaspora, the four corners of the earth, and to come and keep the Passover with the light of Zion. The Passover will be held on April the 14th at 7 p.m. Location, Beach Community Center, 3351 Northeast 33rd Avenue, Fort Lauderdale, 33308. That's at 7 p.m. on April the 14th. The price to attend the Passover with the Light of Zion is $50 per person, $150 per family up to 5 members, and $20 each additional member. Children under 7 are free. We encourage all of you to come out and keep the Passover with the mighty soldiers of the Heavenly Father, with the Light of Zion. Hope to see you there. Shalom.
We celebrate this day and give Yahweh all the glory. Closely examine the book and take heed to every word of why we eat the lamb, unleavened bread and bitter herb. Welcome to the Passover. Welcome to the Passover. We praise Yahweh when them death angels passed over us. Yasharallah, we going home, it's almost over.
And behold, I will gather them out of all the countries, whether I have driven them in mine anger, and in my fury, and in great wrath, and I will bring them again unto this place.
So once again, see the chief minister took all the words out of my mouth. That's our Lord's Passover, April 14th. I pray many brothers and sisters, you actually come down here and come visit your brothers at the Light of Zion. All Melbournes, all you brothers and sisters, all you Israelites from the four corners of this earth, our brothers who watch us from Germany and all these different countries, you are all welcome here at the Light of Zion, because we are one nation. That separatist spirit that we have, that places have, that all that got to go out the door. All that's garbage. All that's filthy, man. We're at the last end. We're at that last trumpet. We're waiting for our deliverance, and this is the time for us to gather ourselves together, man. So I want to say all praise to the Most High. Let's stand and face the east, and let's do this prayer so we can go hit these streets and go teach our people. The blowing of shofar. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Who's the power? Who's the power? By Hashem. By Hashem. Psalms 133 in the Lashon Kodash. Repeat the Hebrew. Shayar, Hama'alwav, Ladawad, Hana, Ma, Tawab, Wama, Nayam, Shabaf, Akyam, Gum, Yaqad, Hashaman, Hatawab, Al, Hara'ash, Yorad, Al, Hazakwan, Zakwan, Aharan, Shayarad, Al, Paya, Madewafiwa, Kato, Kamwanwan, Shayarad, Al, Haraya, Taziawan, Kaya, Sham, Tazawa, Yahweh, Af, Haraka, Kayam, Aid, Haywam, Bahashem, Amasiak, Yahushai, Thawada, from Yad, Aman.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 133. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garment, as a dew as Hermon, and as a dew that is sitting upon the mountain of Zion. For there the Lord commanded the blessing, even life forevermore. Bahasham, Hamashek Yahushai, the water Tamyad, Aman.
So I want to say all praise to the Most High for sure His mercy endure forever. I'm Captain Mount Zach of the L.O.Z, Captain of 50, and standing next to me is
Officer Baruch.
And I want to say, if you want to show L.O.Z some love, you want to show us you want to show us some favor, you're a fervent lover of the L.O.Z, help us push this truth out any way you can. Now, the captain Nicole is gonna post the L.O.Z Cash App. You can send them wherever you can send wherever you can. Wherever it comes in your spirit, we'll accept it by Hashem Mashiach Yahushai, because you did it in the right spirit. Because whatever things we obtain, we're gonna put it through our people, the so-called black and Hispanics that are on these streets that are suffering. Right? So I want to say all praise to the Most High. And I want to say shalom to the nation of Israel.